Hello everyone, it's Isaac here, and today we'll be making some brownie cookies. These are two of my favourite things in one, so when I saw them on Instagram, I just had to give them a go. I'll be using a recipe by Butter and Brioche, one of my favourite food blogs, with some slight tweaks, so get your aprons on and let's get started. Okay, let's start with our dry ingredients. In the mixing bowl, put some plain flour, baking powder, instant coffee and salt together. Give it a good whisk, make sure it's all combined and set aside for use later on. I love how this recipe puts a little bit of coffee in there because it really enhances and deepens the flavour of the chocolate. On to the chocolate. So the original recipe calls for a chocolate made from between 60 and 70% cocoa beans. But because I prefer my cookies a little bit more bitter to have that complexity, I've actually gone for something with 75%. To melt the chocolate and the butter very gently, just put it in the mixing bowl and put it over a pan of boiling water and let the steam do all the work. Make sure the bottom of the bowl doesn't touch the water. So whilst we wait for the chocolate and the butter to melt completely, we can move on to our eggs and sugar. I've replaced the original light brown sugar with some dark muscovado sugar. The reason is because I like my cookie a little bit more fudgy, a bit denser and more bitter. Beat the eggs and the sugar for about 4 minutes, so we get lots and lots of air in the batter. The chocolate should be nice and smooth just like this by now. Take it off the heat and give it a couple minutes to cool. We don't want the eggs cooking before it goes in the oven. When both mixtures are ready, just put them in the mixing bowl and blitz it for another minute or so on high. And when it's nice and smooth just like this, we're now ready to add our dry ingredients. Get the dry ingredients into the bowl and start folding very gently. You don't need to be too aggressive with this because we don't want to deflate the batter too much. Just keep on going until it's nice and smooth just like this. To finish off, just add 1 tablespoon of water and keep on mixing. Okay, at this point the batter is a little bit too runny, so what we want to do is to put some cling film over the bowl and put it in the fridge for about 15 to 20 minutes. This will firm up the dough and make it much easier for the next step. Use this time to preheat your oven to 180 degrees Celsius and also to line your baking trays. So once you take the batter out of the fridge, it should have a much more dough-like consistency. Now the best way to get those perfect circles is to use an ice cream scoop. Get little dollops of dough onto a baking tray, making sure you leave enough room around it because they will spread out in the oven. Okay, the next part is a little bit complicated, so pay attention. You want to bake these for a total of 11 minutes, but to make sure we flatten out the cookie, release the air and make sure it cracks all over the top, we want to make sure we give it a little tap, and you want to do this after minute number 5, 7 and 9. For the tapping, you could do this both inside the oven against a rack or take it out the oven against a hard counter. But the main point is, you need to get them nice and flat and to make sure they crinkle on top, just like this. After 3 rounds of tapping and 11 minutes in the oven, you'll have yourself some delicious looking brownie cookies. Just let them cool and they're ready to eat. As I said before, I can't take credits for this amazing recipe. I found this on a blog called Butter and Brioche. I'll put the link down below in the description. And as usual, thank you for watching and I'll see you guys in the next one.